Good morning, friends. My name is Rakesh Kumar Khuntia. I have started this YouTube channel to share knowledge areas in the field of pharmacy. In this knowledge series, I will discuss on regulatory affairs. As being the first video in regulatory affairs, let me give you a brief introduction of regulatory affairs. Regulatory affairs is also known as the government affairs. This is a profession within regulated industries such as pharmaceuticals, medicinal devices, cosmetics, agrochemicals, energy, banking, telecom industries. Regulatory affairs has a different specific meaning when we are reaching to healthcare industries. So in the healthcare industries, we see the pharmaceuticals, medicinal devices, biologics, and functional foods. Regulatory professionals, aka regulatory affairs professionals, usually have very good dynamic responsibilities in the areas of number one, and they ensure the companies comply with all the regulations and laws pertaining to their businesses. Number two, they work with the federal, state, local health authority agencies and personals on specific issues affecting their businesses. That is working with the FDA, that is Food and Drug Administration, or European Medicines Agencies, the Department of Energy, or the Security and Exchange Commission of Banking. Third, advising their company on the regulatory aspects and the climate that would affect proposed activities, that is, proposed activities that is describing the regulatory climate around the issues such as promotion of the prescription drugs and Sarbanes-Oxley compliance. So we'll discuss more about this Sarbanes-Oxley compliance in a later part of this video. In this healthcare regulatory affairs, which deals with the pharmaceuticals, medicinal devices, in vitro diagnostics, biologics and biotechnology, nutritional products, cosmetics, veterinary products. The healthcare function in regulatory affairs industries is vital in making the safe and effective healthcare products that is available worldwide. Individuals who ensure regulatory compliance and prepare submissions, as well as those whose main job is clinical affairs or quality assurance, are all considered regulatory professionals. The most significant responsibility of a regulatory professional in an export company is to get the product successfully registered and approved by the health agency of the country. So in US it is FDA, in Europe it is EMA. The regulatory professionals have various roles and responsibilities that offer from the beginning of the research and development phase. They move into clinical trials and extend through a pre-market approval, manufacturing, labeling, advertisement, and post-marketing surveillance. The core competencies of regulatory affairs include the professionals come from different backgrounds in regulatory affairs. These professionals have earned a bachelor's degree in pharmacy or any other required field and have an advanced degree. Most often, it's a scientific degree or a technical degree. These professionals have experiences in other careers before transitioning into regulatory affairs. It could be a formulation, it could be analytical, but they have been building this kind of knowledge areas in the previous roles, and they switch into this regulatory department. Although there are some universities which offer this kind of degree and graduate and also certificate programs in regulatory affairs and other related core competencies in regulatory affairs. The experience having in a regulatory affairs is a key asset in regulatory affairs. The valuable skill includes the project management, negotiations, communication, and the ability to learn from the experience of others, both inside the organization and also outside the organization. Continuing education and professional development are the two critical regulatory professionals. The regulatory professionals must keep up to date with the regulatory policies and procedures for one or more countries, as well as they have to maintain a very good understanding of scientific technical background of healthcare products. The global aspects of regulatory affairs are taken by organizations such as Drug Information Association and the International Conference on Harmonization of Technical Requirements for Registration of Pharmaceuticals for Human Use, which we called as ICH. I repeat again, International Conference on Harmonization of Technical Requirements for Registration of Pharmaceuticals for Human Use, ICH. Um, in the upcoming videos, we'll also see in detail about ICH, its guidelines. Coming to the origin of this regulatory affairs, why did we get this regulatory body established in first instance? The healthcare industries were significantly established in the modern era, and the regulations have to be stemmed from avoiding any kind of disastrous reputations. And this has been led by US because being the big size in market, and also we have very technological read in businesses. We have seen there is a diphtheria epidemic that led to Biologicals Control Act in 1902. We have seen the publication of The Jungle by Upton Sinclair led in 1906, that is a Pure Food and Drugs Act. Elixir of sulfonamide led to 1938 Food Drugs and Cosmetics Acts. Thalidomide led to 1962 Kiefer-Harris Amendments. Dalkon Shield led to 1976 Medical Device Amendment. Brojik Shilai Heart Valves led to the 1990 Safe Medical Devices Act. In the recent years, we have seen many developments which has been started from the year 1980 from the European Union to harmonize the regulation of healthcare products in the member states. The concept of regulating medicines was well established in most member countries along similar lines to the US model, but many countries did not have any significant medical device regulation. Concurrently, the EU, that is European Union, had developing the concept of new approach directives where only broad concepts were written into the law and the bulk of technological detailed delegated to the compliance with the recognized standards which are more readily updatable. The Europeans took the radical approach to applying the new approach directive to the medical devices, and by doing so, the first significant conceptual advance in healthcare regulations for nearly 100 years. The EU European model for medical device has largely adapted to the Global Harmonization Task Force as the international template. Later on, with the advances in science and regulatory affairs, we have seen multiple developments happening. Many in the regulatory affairs profession believe the new approach to regulation will eventually be adopted for all the healthcare products, as it is representing the best model for delivering the new healthcare advances to market a reasonable time with acceptable safety. Regulatory affairs departments are growing in across the companies due to the challenging resources necessary to fulfill the regulatory requirements. Some companies choose to outsource the task of regulatory affairs to external service providers. Regulatory affairs department is constantly evolving and growing in the which is the least impacted during the acquisition and mergers and also other during the recessions. The global harmonization in standards has led to consistent approach in regulatory submissions, and hence it is under review. Regulatory profession, the profession of regulatory affairs is still an emergent profession. It has more basically four major international professional membership organization. Number one is the Drug Information Association, that is DIA, the Regulatory Affairs Professional Society, that is RAPS, the Organization for Professionals in Regulatory Affairs, TOPRA, Vietnam Regulatory Affairs, Association of Regulatory Affairs. They offer a wide range of education, trainings, professional development, competency certification, and code of ethics. The regulatory professional typically has a background relevant to the business in which they work, that is science, medicine, and engineering. So, this is what we have studied in today's introduction of regulatory affairs. We have discussed what is regulatory affairs, that is the government affairs. We have seen the health regulatory affairs. We have seen the core competencies, origin, recent developments, future developments, the regulatory affairs profession. And with this note, I'm ending this video with the sense that will enable all the listeners the audience to build a sense of regulatory affairs in the field of pharmacy, how this is going to impact in a day-to-day life in the regulatory affairs domain. So if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. My email ID is pharmacy knowledge series at gmail.com. Thanks for watching this video. Please do not forget to subscribe, and comment. Until then, keep watching more videos and stay tuned. Bye bye.